Good morning, students. This is Padmanabham, Botany NEET faculty. In this class, I am going to explain about the morphology of flowering plants. Morphology of flowering plants. Herewith, it is one of the important topic for the NEET purpose. In this morphology of flowering plants, we are going to explain the in detail parts of plants, means root system, stem, leaf, flower, fruit and seed. About root system, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, seed, the external features of these parts we are going to explain one and another in detail. What does morphous mean? Feature or form. Feature or form of the flowering plants. Feature or form of the flowering plants. So external feature as well as internal features are two branches were found. External morphology and internal morphology. When you go and observe a plant, we see externally the leaf, stem, root, etc., flower, fruit. That external appearance of the plant pots we are going to detail discuss in the branch called external morphology. The same sense, the same root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit and seeds, when we take transverse sections, cutting or vertical sections and placed under a microscope, that is electron microscope, we can observe the internal organization of the plant pots, means the cellular level and tissue level, tissue systems, organization. What types of arrangement was seen? When viewed under electron microscope, we can observe the internal parts, arrangement of the tissues in the plant body. Such study about the internal arrangement of the tissue systems under a separate branch called internal morphology or anatomy. Internal morphology is otherwise called as anatomy. So, the external morphology along with the internal morphology, that is anatomy, comes under this branch called morphology of flowering plants. First of all, we are go through with the external forms or external features of the root system, shoot system, that is stem, leaf, flower, fruit, etc. After completion of that external morphology, then we move to internal morphology, that is anatomy. So first of all, today in this session, we move to first of all the external part, that is root or root system. When we take root system, generally we observe the roots within the soil, means inside the soil, the roots of a plant grows towards soil positively geotrophic. Positively geotrophic, negatively phototrophic. Positively geotrophic, negatively phototrophic. Means the roots always grows towards the soil. Where did the root from develops? For that purpose, we go and observe the structure of a seed. Let us see it in the seed. The embryonal axis have a cotyledon or two cotyledons with the two growing regions. These are the two cotyledons or the embryonal leaves. Cotyledons are otherwise called as embryonal leaves. This area is called embryonal axis. Or xylem. Embryonal axis is otherwise called as xylem. We have two growing regions, that is a root growing region called radicle and a shoot growing region called plumule. So this area is called radicle. This area is said to be plumule. The plumule is the region where from the shoot system develops at the time of germination. The radicle grows, elongates and produces root system at the time of germination. So the time of germination of a seed, within the seed this is the structure of embryo. From this radicle grows or elongates into root system, plumule grows and elongates into shoot system at the time of germination. So root system develops from radicle of embryonal axis. Embryo is the product of fertilization present within the seed in flowering plants, right? So direct elongation of radicle gives root system which grow positively geotrophic towards soil and negatively phototrophic, means opposite to light and positive to gravitational power towards soil. The roots which are developed towards soil in the flowering plants, which are developed in two different manner. Let us see about the types of root systems. One of them is nothing but a tap root system, and another one is a fibrous root system. What is the difference between these two, tap root system and fibrous root system? Let us see the direct elongation of radicle grows into a main root. The direct elongation of radicle gives main root. This root grows towards the soil, positively geotrophic. This is called main root, from which number of branches, lateral roots are developed. These lateral roots are said to be secondary roots. From which tertiary branches also develops. So likewise, a main root grows towards soil and produces branches, secondary, tertiary, quaternary branches. Such type of root system directly elongated from the radicle of the embryonal axis is known as taproot system. Further branching takes place, right? This taproot system mainly found in dicotyledonous plants such as mustard, peas, gram, etc. So main root gives rise secondary and tertiary branches. This main root grow continuously towards the soil and produces lateral branches, and then from the lateral branches tertiary branches also develop. Such type of root system was found in dicotyledonous plants. The plants which have the two cotyledons in their embryonal axis are said to be dicotyledonous plants. In most of the dicotyledonous plants, the taproot system was seen. For example, mustard, pea plants, etc. Whereas you see, in some plants only one cotyledon is there in the embryonal axis, having radical and plumule, only one cotyledon. These plants are said to be monocot plants. In these plants, the radical grows and elongates and produces main root. But this main root soon disintegrated. After certain time, the main root becomes disintegrated or destroyed in these plants. From the base of the shoot, number of identical roots are developed. Base of shoot means plumule gives rise to the shoot system now. So from the base of the shoot, number of identical roots are developed. Identical, similar types of roots as in a cluster or bunch. So number of identical roots or a cluster of roots or a bunch of roots develop from the base of the shoot. From the base of the shoot. Such group of roots develops at one point is known as fibrous root system or fibrous roots. It is common in monocotyledonous plants. So after soon disintegration of main root, number of identical roots are developed from the base of the stem or shoot system is known as fibrous roots found in monocotyledonous plants such as grasses, monstera, maize, rice, wheat, etc. These grasses and monstera are examples for adventitious roots. We are going to explain again. So this is the difference between taproot and fibrous roots. Apart from these taproot and fibrous roots, the third type of root system was found, that is adventitious roots. Means the roots which are developed from other parts of other than the radicle. Very, very important. The roots which are developed from other than the radicle means taproots develop from radical. Fibrous roots develop from radical, but after disintegration of the main root, number of roots are developed from base of the stem in monocot plants. But in some by dicot and some monocots, both in dicots and monocot plants, the roots are developed other than the radical. The roots which are developed from other than the radical are seen in monocots as well as in dicots. I am going to give examples. For example, you see the prop roots. This is a taproot system. In the banyan plant, you know that from the aerial branches of the stem, some of the roots are developed towards soil and fixed plant and gives additional support to the plant. These roots are called prop roots or pillar roots. The prop roots or pillar roots are developed from aerial branch. From the aerial branch, the roots are developed and goes towards soil and touch the soil and gives mechanical support to the plant. Even though it has a taproot, the taproot present inside soil, but the pillar roots or prop roots developed from aerial parts of the plant. This is a dicot plant, have taproot and adventitious root. So this prop roots is otherwise called as what? Adventitious roots. Means these adventitious roots are developed from aerial branch, not from radical, right? Likewise, in some monocot plants like maize and sugar cane, from the lower nodes of the stem, this is fibrous root. You know the fibrous roots are the main roots here in these plants developed from base of the stem. We know. So it is useful for absorption of water and minerals. Here also this taproot useful for absorption of water and minerals. But in the maize and sugarcane plants, from the lower nodes, this is one node. This is a node, right? This is one node. From the lower nodes of the plant, the roots are developed and grows towards soil and touch the soil and give additional mechanical support. These are otherwise called as stilt roots or brace roots. Stilt roots or brace roots. So even though it is a monocot plant, sugarcane and maize, monocot plants, they have fibrous roots. Additionally to the fibrous roots, from the lower node, from the lower nodes, some roots are developed and grows towards soil and touch the soil and give additional support, mechanical support. Such roots are called what ma? Stilt root or brace root. So these stilt root or brace roots, these prop roots or pillar roots are the examples of what? Adventitious roots. Then in the grass plants, you know that grass plants are grows horizontally. Horizontally creeps on the soil, grass plants. It have number of nodes and internodes. From each node, the roots are developed. These are nothing but adventitious roots. So adventitious roots are developed in grass plants at every node, and also towards aerial leaves are developed. So every node produces adventitious roots, grasses, and also in monstera. Monstera is like, looks like a grass plant. It also produces adventitious roots at every node. So grass and monstera are the examples of production of adventitious roots at nodes, whereas adventitious roots found in banyan plant develop from aerial branch, whereas in maize and sugarcane the adventitious roots are developed from basal nodes. So you keep difference between these forms and examples for adventitious root system. These are the three root systems are found in plants. Main two, that is a taproot system found in dicot plants, fibrous root system found in monocot plants. Apart from these two, some dicot plants as well as some monocot plants exhibit the adventitious roots. The adventitious root means the root which can develop from other parts of the radicle. From radicle the root will develop, it is not said to be adventitious. From other parts means nodes, basal nodes, aerial parts of the stem or leaf buds, wherever it may be. Other than the radicle, roots are developed in some plants. Such roots are said to be adventitious roots. For example, you know Ipomea batatas. Ipomea batatas, common name sweet potato. In sweet potato, we are we are used to eat that sweet potato. The part is nothing but adventitious root. The adventitious roots of the sweet potato stores the food material which was developed from at nodes and become bulge and swollen. The food material was stored in adventitious roots in the sweet potato plant. That is the edible portion in such plants. Example, Ipomea batatas, sweet potato. In 2018, NEET examination, main exam, 2018, this question was asked, ma. What is the question? The edible portion of sweet potato. This is the question. Answers: A. Taproot. B. Fibrous root. C. Adventitious root. D. Shoot bud. The edible portion of sweet potato. Taproot, no. Fibrous roots, no. Adventitious root. Adventitious root of sweet potato is the edible part. This question was asked, simple question, right? Likewise, in NEET examinations, the questions were asked, we must be aware about the point, right? Next. What is the functions of root? After completion of the root system, what is the main functions of the root system? What is the main functions? First of all, absorption of water and minerals. That is a very important function of the root. From the soil, the capillary water available for the plant's absorption, that capillary water absorbed by the roots and supplied to the aerial parts of the plant. So water and mineral absorption is a main function of a root system. Then anchorage or stability. Giving anchorage or stability to the aerial parts of the plant by the root system. Roots only acts as a base. To build a building, we make a foundation or pillars. That pillars are base gives stability to the walls and roof in a building. Likewise, to aerial parts of the shoot system, the root gives anchorage or stability. Then the roots are also participate in storage of food material. The aerial parts such as the root systems or roots prepare the food. That prepared food in several plants migrated to the root system and stores in the root system. So several plants, the roots are useful for storage of food material also. And finally, the root system useful to synthesize some growth regulators or hormones. Some growth regulators or growth hormones like auxins, like cytokinins, gibberellins, abscisic acid, and ethylene are the growth regulators. We are going to discuss in a separate chapter about the growth regulators. But main growth regulators like auxins and cytokinins are synthesized within the root. So these are the main important points about the root functions, which gives stability or anchorage to the main parts or shoot system, which participate in absorption of water and minerals, which stores the food material, which synthesize some growth regulator. Then regions of roots. One of the important topics. We have several regions, that is nearly 4 more regions. One is root cap region, meristematic region, elongation region, maturation region. So meristematic zone or meristematic region, elongatory zone or elongatory region, maturation zone or maturation region, along with root cap. These are the 4 main regions are found in a root. Let us see diagrammatically a root cap. This is a thimble shaped or thimble like protective structure. Thimble-like protective structure of the root cap, which helps in the penetration of the root towards the soil, which secretes some mucilaginous substances, and that mucilaginous substances give way in the soil for the elongatory growth of the root. This root cap is developed from a tissue called calyptrogen. The tissue present here in the root tips, which are responsible for the production of root cap, is nothing but calyptrogen. Hence the root cap is otherwise called as calyptra. So don't confuse. Calyptrogen is a group of cells present in the root tip, which gives rise the root cap. This root cap may be damaged while penetration in the soil. Again, from the calyptrogen tissues, the new root cap or new protective layer will be developed. So that is the root cap zone, which is the thimble-like protective structure in the root apex. In the root apex, just above the calyptrogen, several or few millimeter length, the cells present, which are called meristems. 1 millimeter or few millimeter or few inches, the cells are present at the tips. That region or that zone is said to be meristematic zone. Very, very important. Meristems or meristematic zone. Meristem means dividing, continuously dividing. Meristem means continuously dividing. So the cells present here participate in division continuously. Means one cell divides and gives 2. 2 cells divides and gives 4. 4 cells also divides and gives 8. Likewise, continuously participate in division and produce a new cell population. That zone responsible for production of new cells always is said to be meristematic zone. In this zone, the cells generally observe with thin cell walls, abundant protoplasm with a conspicuous nuclei. The cells present in the meristematic zone have thin cell wall, abundant protoplasm, huge amount of protoplasm, and with a perfect conspicuous big nuclei, and is always participate in division and capable to produce new cell population. And again the newly formed cells undergo, grow and develop, and again participate in division and produce two more new cells. Likewise, the cells present in this region responsible for production of new cells and add new cell population continuously in the root and helps in the growth of the root. These cells of the meristematic zone have thin cell wall, abundant protoplasmic contents with a conspicuous nucleus, but they does not have reserve food materials. They does not have vacuolization. Vacuoles are absent, but huge mitochondria are found. These are all we discussed under anatomy. What is meristem? How many kinds of meristems are there? What are the main characteristic feature of meristematic cells? Based on the origin, what are the types of meristems? Based on the positions, what are the types of meristems? In detail about meristematic cells, we discuss under anatomy, right? So what are meristematic cells? Continuously dividing cells, which are located at root tip, that is apex, around 1 millimeter length, right? Just above the level of meristematic zone, the cells are undergo elongation, enlargement. Means the cells participate in lengthwise growth. These lengthwise growth cells are responsible for linear growth of the cells. Here vacuolization takes place. Vacuoles are developed and thickening of cell wall was developed, and which is helped for elongatory purpose. The reason of elongation means the cell, this is the cell, meristematic cell undergo elongation like this, lengthwise growth. Lengthwise growth takes place. So, because of the lengthwise growth of the cells found in this zone, which is held responsible for linear growth of the root, linear growth, lengthwise growth of the root carried out by the region of elongation. Here, each and every cell develops vacuoles, empty spaces, vacuolation, and thickening of cell walls also takes place. Next to the elongatory zone, the zone of maturation. Here the cells undergo maturity and fixed at certain places by differentiation activity. These cells lose the capacity of division Some of them are modified as epidermal cells. Some of them are modified as cortical cells. Some of them are modified as tracheids and vessels, which takes part in conduction. Vessels. So at middle, the tracheids and vessels as well as phloem tissues are developed, which are participate in conduction of water from center root to shoot. At a outermost region, the epidermis was formed, which is protective layer. Then middle cortical zone was developed, cortex. So likewise in the maturation zone of maturation, the cells undergo differentiation. The elongated cells undergo differentiation, means losing the dividing capacity, and the wall thickenings takes place, and the wall thickenings forms the permanent tissues like epidermis, cortex, and vascular tissues. Like this. Means this zone is responsible for matured functions, located functions. Epidermis used to protect the root system. Cortical zones are helps to make abundant transport of water and minerals from root to epidermis to vascular tissues, and the vascular tissue is useful to conduct the water from root to then shoot. So likewise, the differentiation takes place in this region. Some cells participate in the making of outermost dermis, that is skin, middle cortical zone, and the centermost vasculature zone. This zone of maturation is also responsible for production of unicellular thimble-like unicellular outgrowths called root hairs. The root hairs are developed from epidermal cells of the maturation zone. These are unicellular. Root hairs are unicellular tubular extensions developed from epidermal cells. Epidermal cell of maturation zone. So very, very important, root hairs which are developed exogenously. Exogenously means from the epidermal cells only they develop, not from centermost part of the root. It is a lengthwise section. So epidermal hairs are nothing but root hairs in the root epidermis which are developed from maturation zone only. These are single celled, only one cell. Tubular extensions developed from epidermal cell means exogenously developed. These root hairs are useful for production of root hair cells are helpful for absorption of water and minerals. So from the soil, these root hairs only useful for absorption of water and minerals. Here also, the root hairs develop from the maturation zone from the epidermal cells. These are exogenously developed. The root hairs are useful for absorption of water and minerals. This was developed from region of maturation. Right? So this question also asked in one NEET exam. That is one. Root hairs are developed from a root cap, B meristems, C elongation zone, D maturation zone. Now identify the answer, simple one. Root hairs are developed from root cap zone, meristematic zone, elongation zone, or from maturation zone. This is the simple question asked in 2018. You see, the D is the correct answer, maturation zone. Root hairs are unicellular. Tubular extensions from epidermal cells of exogenously exogenously from epidermal cells of maturation zone. So very important. The unicellular root hairs are developed from the maturation zone of epidermal cells. Very good. I am going to explain another point here. Just carefully observe. From the innermost tissue that is called pericycle, pericycle is the innermost layer which covers the xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloem are covered by a linear of cells called pericycle centrally, right? From the pericycle, the lateral roots are developed more. So this is what? Lateral roots. These are what? Root hairs. Now compare. Root hairs are the unicellular tubular extensions of maturation zone from epidermal cells only, develops exogenously, outer. But these lateral roots are developed from the pericycle. From the pericycle means center part. The covering tissue of vascular bundles are called pericycle. Detailedly we discussed on anatomy. What is pericycle, what is xylem, what is phloem, like, right? So, centralmost area was surrounded by pericycle. That is, centralmost part is stele. Stele was surrounded by pericycle. From there, pericycle, lateral roots are developed. These lateral roots are multicellular, secondary roots develop endogenously. So lateral roots are not participate in absorption of water. It is helps in branching and spreading of the root system. But root hairs are useful for absorption of water and minerals, which is exogenous from epidermal cells of maturation zone. But lateral roots are developed from pericycle endogenously, internal part of the stem. So make sure the difference between exogenous and endogenous. This is about regions of root. Then root modifications. Root modifications. So after completion of root and root systems and root functions about regions of root, we are going to discuss the modification. What is modification? For example, to maintain the sustainability of the plant species in a changed environment condition, a root or stem or flower or any part of the plant gets modified in its original structure and transformed into another structure and can able to survive in the changed environmental conditions. So due to change in the environmental conditions, the root completely or a part of root becomes changed and perform additional functions apart from the main functions. The root gets modified and perform additional functions. What are the main functions? Absorption of water and minerals, giving anchorage for storage of food materials, and synthesis of growth regulators. These are the main functions. Apart from the main functions, some additional functions are also performed by the roots in certain plants, not in all. That modified root which perform the various functions are considered as root modifications. Here several root modifications we are going to discuss. About the types of root modifications with examples we discuss under a separate topic, that is root modifications in the next class, that is in next session. Is there any doubt? Please ask me in the doubt sessions. I think you are receive my content, that is the root system, etc. So I hope to you all understood well. Thank you, students. Meet you again in the next class. Thank you one and all.